Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. This is episode 9 of 10 React Native shared element transitions. And do you remember the slick carousel that we've implemented, which I was inspired by Divan? Well, now it's time to apply a shared element transition to it. Previously we were using FlingGesture handler from React Native Gesture handler and Animated API, and now we will also add some Animatable in order to animate a couple of elements on the screen, plus the same trick that I've already walked you through in the previous video, where we have a bottom sheet that's actually moving from a screen to another and has this shared element transition applied to it as well. Before jumping into VS Code, I would like to thank you all for supporting this channel, especially to my Patreons. So it's a big list, and here we go. So thank you to Izzy, Jordan, Teddy, Andreas, Stefano, Vicent, John, Damian, Felix, Pift, Atem, Hyancite, Subramanian, Tamas, Random Guest X, Drew, Hermanas, Creso, Minjeli, Smashy Design, Huruton, Chambre, Lars, Wildent, Wilton, Zizo, George, and Quentin. It's a big list, so thank you all once again for supporting me. It means a ton to me. And now, I think it's time to play the intro and jump straight into VS Code and add the shared element transition to this carousel. Shall we? Alrighty, so we are in VS Code here, and I've already created two different routes. So one route is for events list, which is actually copy pasting the carousel which we've created in a previous video, and we also have an event list, which is a dummy component only displaying the back button. So in the events list, I would like to start with the data. And by the way, the link to this component, to the repository, you can find it in the description of this video. So first I would like to move the data. So let me cut this data, right? Open up the sidebar here, and inside the config data, let me create an events.js. Paste this here and export default this collection of items. Now I can close the side menu here, and inside the events, instead of using the data as it is here, I would like to modify and change it to be events. And now we have basically the same gesture, right, applied to it, and everything it's working, but we just moved the data into a different file. And now let's start with adding a touchable opacity for each particular item so we can actually transition to the second screen. So inside here, inside the flat list, in the render item, I would like to wrap this image into a touchable opacity. So touchable opacity, let me import it. All right, so I have a touchable opacity. I would like to apply an active opacity of 0.9. And on press, we will go to navigation. Let me import navigation as well here. So we have the events list, navigation dot navigate to, it's called events, how it is, so it's events list details, and I will pass the item as the active index. And the reason for that is because each slide it's actually visible on the screen, so we are not actually unmounting the image, so it's always visible on the screen. So while tapping on the screen, you'll basically press on the first image or the first slide. And in order to avoid that and actually take the active index, we set here while doing the transition, we set the active index with the actual index of the screen or of the slide. So this is going to set the index, right, to the state, and we would like to take from the data the object based on the index. So we have here the index, and in order to get the index, we first need to change the render item method instead of the index to receive I as index. Change the input range now, and here inside we would like to get from events the index, right? And this is throwing an error because we have an extra comma here, comma. Okay, so reload. And now when we press on the item, based on the active index, we take the object from index from the events and pass it to the second screen, right? So nothing fancy here. And now if we move to the events list, we can take the item from route params, right? And we can display an image. So we will have here an image. Let me import image from React Native. So I'll have here an image. And source is going to be URI item image. Has been declared, okay. All right, and let's position this absolute. So we'll have here a style sheet absolute fill object. And it's actually item poster, so item poster. All right, so we have a stretched image on the second screen, which is amazing. After that, I would like to create here a dummy view just for a background. So I'll position this absolute as well. So style, it's going to be style sheet absolute fill object, but this time I'll apply a background color of black and apply a different opacity of 0.4, let's say, or maybe 0.3. All right, that works. And we can also play with the color as well, so we can either be black or white. And now I would also like to display here some informations, right? And for the informations here, I would like to have a view. Inside the view, I would like to have a text. We will have here the item, name or title. We'll have location, and we'll have the date. Great, so those appeared here. Let's style the, so I'll position this absolute, so style sheet, absolute fill object. I'll give it a background color of white. All right, and top is going to be height minus, let's say 100. And height is not available, let me import height. All right, something like this, maybe top is going to be, let's apply 0.7, so 30% of the height screen. All right, and apply some padding, so spacing multiplied by 2. All right, and the border radius of 60. Great. And for the title, let me apply some different styles. So font weight is going to be 900 and font size is going to be 22 or maybe 28. All right, and for the item location, font weight, it's going to be 500 and a font size of 18, maybe even less, so 16. Great. And for the date, I'll apply a font size of 12. All right, so we have some dummy data here, right? And this time this this view, I like to also apply it to the back screen. So I've said that we will have a dummy element that's going to be shared between, like the bottom sheet is going to be shared between the two screens. So this is the bottom sheet on the detail screen. So let me actually add this to the other one as well. So we have here this dummy view, right? And height is not defined. Height, all right. So we have it here. Let me give this a red. All right, so we have it this one, but I would like to transition this outside of the screen. All right, or instead of top, maybe we can transform and translate y, height divided by 2, so it's going to be in the middle of the screen. Right, it's going to be, but this time I like to actually move it outside of the screen and apply the same transform on the second screen, but this time I'll apply a 0.7. Okay, so instead of top, we are actually modifying the translate. Cool. And now let's start by adding the shared element transition. So I would like to move this view, right? So we'll have a shared element, and the ID is going to be general.bg. Great. Shared element, let me import it. All right, and I'll also like to apply a style sheet absolute fill object, and also apply this transform to it. All right, and the color should be white in our case, and we don't need actually padding here. All right, so we have the shared element transition here for the background, and let's apply the same for the image. So we have the image here, but ID is going to be item key and image. All right, so we wrap this one. Let's hit save here. All right, so we have those images, and on the second screen, let me grab the shared elements and grab the image, right, into a shared element, and copy the style here. So I'll have the same style, right, and also copy this shared element bg. This guy here, so where it is, this one, I'll wrap this into a shared element. Okay, so we have a style. All right, and for this translate, we'll move it up. So shared element is not defined. Okay, let me import this one and see how this is actually looking. So we have this, but we move this up just a tiny, right? Perfect. And as far as I can see, the color should be white in our case for the X button. Cool. And if I'm going to a previous tutorial and grab the shared elements, apply the shared elements here, so we don't need the style sheet, but it's going to have a shared elements. We'll have the image and the general bg. So if I hit save, refresh, now we should have a shared element transition between the screens. All right. Okay, so the background, it's actually looking really nice. So we need to fix a couple of things. So, but the transition looks okay, I'll say. The reason why this shared element transition is looking really weird is because we don't have a key actually to the events. So if I'm going to the events, I need to add a key here. So I'll have a key 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 7. Now hit refresh, and because the reason is in flat list here we have a key extractor, and now we would like to have the item and item key, right? And the transition should be fixed now, and the reason is because the item key is really important to actually map to whatever image is the next, right? So now we have this visual field, and so the transition looks really good. The only thing which I would like to do is to play around with the animatable on the second screen. So I would like to stagger those items and also display the backdrop after with a little delay. So I would like to import Animatable from React Native Animatable, right? And here I would like to create a fade in bottom initially and finally. So initially we'll have an opacity of 0 and translate y is going to be, let's say, 100. And when this animation is going to be finished, I would like to go to opacity 1 and translate y is going to be 0. And with this fade in bottom, I would like to apply it to each particular text with it, right? So we will have an animatable text and also animatable text. All right, so we have the animation is going to be fade in bottom. We would like to apply a duration of duration. We'll make this happen, but this time with a delay of, let's say, 500, 600 and 700, right? So we'll specify here the duration is going to be 400. If I hit save now, you see they come together really nice. Tick, tick, okay. And delay, let's increase just a little bit of delay. So we'll have delay plus 200, delay plus 350, and now let's say 500. And delay is not defined. Let me create a delay. So delay is going to be 400 as well. All right. I think that I can lower down the delay just a little. Okay. And now let's apply the same animatable to the backdrop as well. So we will have, where is the backdrop? This is the backdrop. So we'll create an animatable view. We'll specify a duration 400, delay of duration, sorry, a delay of delay, and the animation is going to be fade in. And this time the fade in is not like really good, but we can play around with the opacity of the background. So RGBA is 0, 0, 0, 0, 0.3. Great. So now it's going to appear, right? You can actually decrease or increase the duration. Just a little. Oh, right. So this is looking really good. Alrighty guys, that was it. I hope that you learn something new and you can apply it in your existing project. Also, if you have any issues, don't hesitate to leave a comment down below. I'll do my best to answer all of them and help you as much as I can. Also, if you'd like to have access to the source code of all 10 React Native SharedElement transitions, plus a bonus one, you need to become a Patreon. And how to become a Patreon and what we are going to build, you find more details in the link specified in the description. Also, don't forget to subscribe, like this video, or double smash the dislike button. Thank you so much once again, and see you in the next video. Bye bye.